Welcome. Here we go. So, recently I joined X, and B Reintegrated is the name there. Come follow me. Um, and we were talking about first. I saw this presentation on Jung's Red Book and the Red Book of Tolkien, and I was so happy to see it. It was I was just following some Louis Claude de Saint-Martin stuff, and I saw that Dr. Rebecca Tarnas or Tanas was doing a dissertation defense on her book, which I was really happy with watching the entire presentation. It was a couple hours, but she did a great job. She even mentioned how she said it was Henri Colbert, Corbin. I say Henry Corbin because I'm not educated. But anyway, I saw her mention the Imaginal from Henry Corbin, and I was like, wow, because I came to the same conclusions in the Cohen material through another channel by looking at Dominique Clarambeau's analysis of the body of glory. So it's really cool to see that level of scholarship in the Red Book, because I am really into that kind of material. Not trying to poach her territory. But it's great stuff. It's stuff that we're all involved in. So I hate that I'm becoming like a fan of Dr. Tarnas, but that's just how it is. When you have great material, you have great material. So anyway, I was talking with a new friend on X, and we were going over the spiritual exercises of Daniel Kramer. And I pulled out the book on page 118. We got Mundabor, I am cleansed. And the commentary says, Mundabor means I am cleansed. May mean it is we who stray from divine presence. Cleansing in this sense is returning to our true nature and reconnecting with the divine within us. And then Meister Eckhart says, the soul has two faces. One turns toward time and the other toward eternity. And God, that is so true. If the soul is made in the image of the God, the Imaginal, then, we're seeing that this soul is not a singularity, but that in its multiplicity, it has a singularity to it. It actually has an element of duality that is inherent in the soul, which I love, because it's, it talk about a unifying doctrine. It's not an either or, it's an and, that the soul has a material presence and it has a eternal presence. It's not a one against the other. And when I read that, through these contexts, I saw, wow, that is a heck of a presentation that we should be doing on the being reintegrated free section, because that's essentially what the work is in a nutshell, is presenting that there's a surface level consciousness that, as Dr. Tarnas said, kind of uses language as a container and calls things by their non-organic and imaginal presentation in this fixed material setting. And so it's a way to use language to speak pejoratively about something else that we're not even talking about, which is the imagination. When I saw that, I was blown away. I loved that presentation. And hopefully, she'll publish the book, but maybe she won't. But anyway, I saw that dissertation and the core ideas were shared. Although, her talking about Nietzsche and God is dead and and saying that God is dead is saying that the imagination is dead, is a very interesting way to put it, because, all of this seeking of God, and we do it with a rational mind that can't do it whatsoever. And this is part of what Jung did in Active Imagination. Which I recommended to another friend on X. Yeah, I'm really liking X, by the way. The search function is really good, and especially for stuff that I'm interested in, I could just see a really good search, robust system without having to filter through a bunch of stuff that's not related. So I really like the searching functions on X, and I might switch to that for more of a promotional platform, because it seems to be more in line with what I'm looking for as a search platform. Anyway, so what I was watching was the imaginal being presented in both the context of Jung and Tolkien, and she did a wonderful job of defending her thesis, which is that there's an imaginal component to the images of the unconscious, and that this imagination is kind of a receiving channel that no other area is a receiving channel for. I really liked it. It goes into what Steiner talks about in the philosophy of freedom, and why concepts are so confining for the individual that is growing in their ego stage, the child development. And Waldorf is basically meant to give a different modality of experience rather than a thinking conceptual world. It's using a feeling and more of a intuitive approach to this intellectual tradition. And so those are a few words I wanted to say about that. Also, on page 118, Mundabor, there's two eyes that are looking up at the divine. And I love that, because it shows the duality that, yes, there is a dual-minded heart center where, we are perceiving duality and how it is presented to us through epistemological categorization. But there's also a function of the soul that can see through the non-rational, through the silly, like Jung says, the spirit of the depths. And I think that this image, Mundabor, really does give a good job at showing, what's happening. That the nurturing comes from the principle in the sky. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. The principle in the sky, and it is giving its blessing in the form of watering the heart with imaginal seed and experience and overall substance. So in the pericope, there's a Gospel of Thomas reference for 78, and it says, "Why have you come out to the desert? To see a reed shaken by the wind, and to see a man clothed in fine garments like your kings and your great men? Upon them are fine garments, and they are unable to discern the truth." So this is from the Kabbalistic Words of Jesus by Louis Kaiser. He did an excellent job in the scholarship on this book, which I've said before, but just so you know, it's a really, really good rendition of the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas. And he goes into it, and he gives a little bit more of the depth of the philological layers of the actual sermon and some of Jesus's teachings. But I love that it's saying that these kings and great men are unable to discern the truth. And it kind of goes with Dr. Tarnas's thesis that if we're just using the categories that we've been given, we're not really infusing those categories with the component of our soul or the imaginal. I loved it. I really did. I thought it was very good condensation of what Jung was trying to tell us, which also, as I mentioned on X, is reflected in Aeon, that there's a language that was specifically developed in order to keep us in exclusion of the realm of the depths. And so this is the imaginal kind of mode that we go into, of not seeing the real. This is where the kerning reality of his breathing exercises, J.B. Kerning or J.B. Krebs, he said that the subjective is the only real world, that the objective world is not a real world. And, Martinez de Pasquale, the person that this text reminded me of, says that we're always going to experience our glory, because that glory is part of our being. When we seek to go experience something else, which in my new commentary I'm calling necessity, when we go and seek necessity, we actually lose the eyes of the heart, and we're looking more toward the eyes of the mind. We're getting separated away from this imaginal language that Dr. Tarnas was talking about, which was evident through these lives of Jung and Tolkien, and the rich areas of both mythological presentation and psychological presentation that these guys did. Worlds apart, yet almost traveling the same line, the same divine spirit and influx of whatever it is that they're riding on. So anyway, just wanted to give a response to that, which has just recently come across my radar. I didn't even know that there were these kind of images that Dr. Tornas was sharing, that you can see when a person taps into this realm of their soul, the divine realm of their soul, which is using the imaginal as a mediating presence to give you information that is not completely conceptual, is the point that she was going over while they were deliberating on her doctoral thesis, which obviously she got because Dr. Tarnas has given presentations to the Philemon Foundation on this specific thing. So anyway, I'm very happy to have been able to see that. 100 years or more past the time that time came into the world, and I got lucky enough to see a presentation by her on that reasoning. So this is the presentation of Mundabor, which I thought would be very appropriate for a follow-up to that conversation. And I made it specifically for a new friend that I've been having kind of cool conversations with, and that's sharing a lot of cool stuff on X. So if it seems pointed, it is. But it's also an opportunity to show you more of the book, which you'll also be able to see on Being Reintegrated Patreon. Thanks for your viewership.